Personally, I would love Friday evening games. 3 weeks ago, I think it was, this night 3 weeks, I was in the athletic grounds for the Down Armagh game on a dreadful night, and there were over 5,500 people there. And Down Armagh is one of the pairings that probably can work on a Friday night. The point I made in my report, it wasn't opposition to it, but it was simply the reality is that I think they will only be on an occasional basis. What we cannot do is fix games for Friday night and then have a situation where players are saying, look, I've got to take a day or a half day off work and I can't afford the loss of wages. That's my concern. The second point would be, there's an issue of travelling. You can't expect a player realistically to do a day's work with the mental and physical stress that would be involved in that, and then travel to play a major competitive game. I would like to see Friday night games, but our players are amateur players and we should never forget that, and we shouldn't impose the demands of professional players on amateur players, because if we do, we're bringing problems on ourselves. I'd strongly support Jarlath's comments in relation to the responsibilities on hearings committees. There have been a few incidents in the past year that have caused Kistabanistee huge concern, and as late as today, one of those was discussed yet again at the Kistabanistee meeting, where it would appear to us that a county hearings committee simply ignored the rule book in order to allow players to play in a provincial club championship. That's unacceptable, absolutely unacceptable. We've made huge progress in recent years in refining and improving our disciplinary procedures, thanks to the Rules Advisory Committee and their predecessor. We've put good systems and structures in place. But at the end of it all, it depends on the integrity of the people who are implementing those structures. And we had incidents in the past year where players who were cleared who should not have been cleared. And that has to end. And I would certainly go along with Jarlath's comments. There's an education process to be commenced after this year's Congress is complete, when our new rule book is published, to once again remind people of their responsibilities in terms of applying the rules. We cannot slide back to a situation where maybe 10, 15 years ago, discipline in the GA was regarded. It had a pretty poor reputation outside the association and even within the association. We've made huge strides in recent years and we cannot be allowed to slide back. So I would agree fully with the sentiments that Jarlath expressed on that. I welcome the comments of Laurie Quinn in relation to finance. As I said in my report, there is an inequity there. I think most people recognise it. I mentioned in particular a few small population counties who find it very difficult. They need our support. This is an issue of fairness, and I'm delighted to hear that as a priority the National Finance Management Committee will be bringing forward proposals on a more equitable distribution of whatever resources that we have. I know, if there's gain for some counties, there will be pain for some. But we're a very fair association, basically, and you cannot expect a county with a population of 30 or 40,000 to have the same resources as a county of several hundred thousand. And it will be good for the association in the long term if we bring a greater level of equity into it. And as I said, I greatly welcome the comments that Laurie made on that. In relation to the club draw, I think it's a terrific innovation. I hope that it shows, because it's meant to show that Croke Park and Central Council do care about our clubs. It's going to be extremely successful this year. I believe it will grow on a year-on-year basis and become a major fundraising tool for all our clubs. On Tony Bass's points finally in relation to overseas and the broadcast of our games, we've made it very clear from a long way back that in terms of the next broadcast contract, and these will be negotiated very shortly, the tenders are out at the moment, an absolute priority for us has been throughout and will be for the remainder of the process that we make our games as widely available as possible to as many people as possible all over the world. There's a huge demand from the Irish diaspora, first of all, to be able to see as many of our games as they possibly can, from the US to Australia to Africa, all over the world. And that's our aim, insofar as we possibly can, to make our games as widely available as possible. That's not easy. In some places that may mean a cost, never mind a financial gain. But we'll try and get a very balanced outcome to make sure that as many of our big games as possible are as easily available as possible to as many Irish people or others who want to watch them all over the world. We have fantastic products. People who come here and see our games played in Ireland every summer from abroad marvel at the games, and we have a responsibility to get them out there for those people and for our own exiles abroad. And I can assure you, Tony, that in terms of the thinking behind our current negotiations, etc., that is absolutely essential to that. Finally, just to thank everybody for the comments that they made. In writing a report, you try to capture GA as it was, warts and all, in the course of a year. And I know sometimes that I write things in the report that people don't like and maybe are offended by, and that happened, I suppose, in some instances this year as well. And one or two counties didn't like things that I said, but they were very respectful about it, and we discussed it, and that's the way that it should be. As I said, I particularly want to thank the people who made a contribution this evening, and thank you all for what you had to say. Thank you.